Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to another exciting day with Love is Not Judgmental. My name is Marvin Kane, and I will be your host, and I'm proud to do such a thing. Listen, we've got another interesting subject regarding age gap relationships that we want to talk about, and it's specific to the fact that younger women love dating older men. In fact, they actually embrace dating older men. Many of them, not all, nothing's about all. While many older women, they have some reservations, not just about the older man, but also about the younger woman that's dating the older man. So we want to get into this discussion because it's really important to understand both sides of this dynamic. So when it comes to an age gap relationship, these are all opinions. And by the way, listen, I'm just your guide on the tour. I don't have all the answers. I'm just expressing to you my opinions, the way I see things. But there are many places you can go to as a resource. I don't ever want to come across like I have all the answers to how relationships work. Sometimes you have the answers yourself. You just have to think a little bit and remember what you did the last time as a solution. So as we define what age gap relationships is, again, we're talking generally on this channel. We're not talking about teenagers. We're generally talking about men and women over the age, right around the age of 25 years old, 24, 25 in that range and older. And the reason we say this is because it's about brain solidification and the ability to make mature and decent decisions. So for men, brain solidification means your brain gets solid, it's no longer juicy and soft. This generally happens 27, 28, 29, like that. And for women, it generally happens between the ages of 23, 25. Now, it's going to depend when you do your research, and I suggest you do your research on the science that you look at. But for the most part, women 24, 25, men 26, 27. That's the age group that we're talking in regards to. And of course, those in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100 as they choose to have relationships with younger individuals. So when we talk specifically about the age gap, age gap's 3 years. That's an age gap. In my last marriage, I didn't even realize because I didn't even look at those terms. I just met a beautiful woman. And when I say beautiful, she was beautiful inside and out, great personality. And we got married. She was 8 years younger than I was. People would call that an age gap. I have friends who never thought about an age gap relationship. It was just based on them and the other individual. 20 years. They just saw someone they liked. There was 20 years age difference between them. There was a gap, and they've been happily ever after. So a lot of people don't think in terms of they may be in an age gap relationship. So when we talk about age gaps, generally 5 years or more, 5 years or more age gap, 3 years or more. It's an opinion. If the ages aren't equal, then there's a gap between, hey, that'll work. I mean, like I've told you, I've been married twice. My first marriage, she was just a couple of months. Well, not even a couple of months. Some people call that an age gap. That's not an age gap because our ages generally floated at the same time. We were generally at the same time. Oops, so I hit my mic. So yeah, this is what our references are. So that's the dynamic that we want to put, and we want to have clarity about what an age gap really is. And for some, and on this channel, we're really talking about age gaps where there is a significant age difference between partners. We're talking 20, 30, 40 plus years. That's the market that we're actually targeting as we talk about age gaps. And there have been a lot of famous age gaps. I'm not going to throw names out there, but you've seen them. And they seem just as successful in their relationships as anybody else. And they make it work, and some don't make it work. They get divorced, some don't get divorced. But those are all personal decisions. So let's get into the question. Why is it that younger women love age gap relationships? Some of the reasons, now let's talk about the stereotypes. Some people will say that she loves it because the man being older is more stable financially. If you think about this, what is wrong with that idea? What woman would want to be with a man that wasn't stable financially? Now, some women have had relationships with men whose incomes fluctuate, their homes fluctuate, lifestyle fluctuates, but they make that work. That's just lifestyle management. So some women, some people say, oh, she just wants him for his money. When it comes to the man, some people say, oh, he wants her because she's beautiful, she's great for sex. I still and will always have a problem with this mindset because I think if a smart man was looking for a woman for sex, he would choose one that had more experience, especially if he's had experience. That just makes sense. I mean, you're not trying to train people in life. You're trying to meet a partner where they are and continue to grow together to meet where you are and beyond, right? You create something new. So those are, again, just my humble opinions. But when we look at conversations we've had with, I told you I had over 7,000 people in the last 4 years I've talked to regarding this particular subject. I've done many interviews with many, many couples. In regards to why the majority of younger women date older men, it has nothing to do with money. You know what it has to do with? His wisdom. They just don't want to go through life making the same mistakes. So they look for a guide and a man. They like hitch it. Basically, that's what it comes down to. They want someone who can direct them through life with their wisdom, their experience, and they want to grow from that. That's the big value. And they fall in love with the man because what he's able to provide her with that way. Now, far be it from the older man dating a younger woman, it's not for sex. It's most of the men I've talked to, and I will be very candid with them. Did you marry her for sex? She's a very beautiful woman, if you don't mind me saying. Did you marry her for sex? And they go, no, that's the craziest thing. That's really the craziest thing. Because sex is only temporary enjoyment. They marry these women and date these women to get to the point of marriage because of their youthful vitality. It just makes them feel good to be with a younger woman who is not going to challenge them all the time and who is going to be respectful. Because you know what the number one thing that most men say, older men say? They just want peace. And we're not bashing older women and saying women of equal ages with men that they don't want peace because everybody wants peace in a relationship. But many times, and it's unfortunate, sometimes when an older man goes to pursue a woman of his own age group, he's got to deal with her baggage. She keeps talking about her baggage. She keeps bringing up her baggage. Men let things go. We get over stuff rather quickly. But when an older woman or the woman of equal age to the man, let's say I'm going to use my age, a 55-year-old man with a 55-year-old woman, she's going to constantly talk about what went wrong in her relationship. He just doesn't want to hear it because that's her past. Yes, he hears it the first time. He listens the first time. But throughout the relationship, this is not the foundation he's particularly interested in. With the younger woman, she doesn't have this history. She really just doesn't. And in many cultures, a lot of younger women have their first relationship with older men, and those seem to be the most amazing relationships for both of them. So, a lot of stories we could share. In addition to that, that stability factor is very important. And it's not the fact that the older man has a home, has a car, has a bank account. It's not that. It's also a sense of adventure. That is the equalizing for both of them. It's a new adventure. It's like, wow, let's see where this can go. Because ultimately, everybody wants to be happy. So there's some benefits. There's some huge benefits when it comes to having an older partner. And older individuals may find, like we said, renewed vitality. The connection is different. I'm telling you, I'm not comparing when I do this men and women, a younger woman and an older man in a relationship. I'm not comparing this to a parent-child relationship, but it's relationships. So in the general understanding of what a relationship is, there are great benefits when you have parents and you have your child. Because as I've gotten older, my youngest son, who's 20 years old at this recording, he's able to see things and remind me of things because we like to fix stuff. We fix stuff for our friends and, we do little odds and end things to help people out when there's a need, right? We just do a community volunteering work. But he's able to see some things that I forgot or I may have never known because even though he grew up with me living in the same home, he still has a position in life where has been exposed and experienced things that I still never had, even being almost 3 times his age, right? So I'm saying that to say this. When an older person, whether it's an older woman with a younger man, when older people mix with younger people, there is a sense of less frustration because there's mutual respect. Neither partner wants to offend the other. And they go through great lengths, especially in age gap relationships, to make sure that their partner is at peace. So this doesn't mean that there won't be challenges. There are many, many challenges, especially when it comes to older women. Older women feel a sense of rejection. Well, what's wrong with me? Well, nothing's wrong with you. Like I've mentioned, I love older women. I love the crow's eyes. I love the wrinkles around the mouth. I love the stresses on the neck. To me, all that is beautiful. That's what you develop into. But there's nothing wrong with a woman that doesn't have crow's eyes. There's nothing wrong with a woman that doesn't have wrinkles around her mouth and has a very smooth neck. I mean, I can stand many, many improvements in my own self appearance, but we recognize that. But some women feel belittled, and it doesn't make any sense because that's not a relationship you are a part of. So older women, they worry about compatibility issues. One of my friends, an older woman, I had mentioned to her that a lot of younger women, excuse me, a lot of younger women are attracted to me. I don't know what it is. And when I tell people I'm 55, I mean, I don't know how I look on the video, but people always say, "You're 55? I thought you were like in your 40s or late 30s." Really? I love these compliments, but I'm getting older. Things are changing, so I don't hear it as much. But I was talking to a friend, like I said, she's about 20 years older than I am. So I can call her older sister, or I can even call her mom, but I think she prefers older sister. As such, we were talking about the fact that, some younger women are attracted to me. And I just found that amazing and quite interesting. And she goes, those things never work. That's what she said. Now, of course, she hasn't studied or talked to a lot of people, but that was her quick response because there's nothing compatible. See, that whole thing about compatibility, younger women don't seem to worry too much about compatibility. They already know that they're fitting in to someone else's lifestyle. Older men don't think that way either about compatibility because they know they also are trying to fit in to someone else's lifestyle. So the biggest problem becomes those societal judgments. Society loves to judge. Society has an opinion about everything. And so these differences that occur in like the different life stages. All right, these are bonuses because in any group, even if you take two people who are of the same age, let's say 55 and 55, they have still had different life stages. They've done different things at different age groups. I mean, you could never do the cookie cutter. So let's say a famous person. Let's say you wanted to duplicate their life to see if you could have their success. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work. If you did exactly the same things they've done, if you did the same kind of jobs they did, got the same type of education they did, even got the same type of friends, went to the same schools that they went to, ate the same foods, weighed the same, wore the same clothes, you will still be at different stages because the uniqueness of our humanity is that we are individuals who have the privilege of choice. So it's all about the choices that we make. And sometimes older women, I hate to say it because I have great respect for women, sometimes they just simply forget this and it carries in to the anger. So these are some of the challenges, but then there are many that can come up within an age gap relationship. First of all, the age is a challenge. I mean, listen, young women, you've got to decide what you want to become as you continue to grow in this relationship. Because at some point, if you stay in there long enough, you might become a nurse. Yes, a nurse. The man is older, he's on a rapid decline, much greater and faster than you are. People live to be 70, 80 years old. So if you marry a man 55 and you're 24, by the time you're 55, what is that, 31 years? So 55, 86. That's an 86-year-old man after 31 years, after you've matched your age, 86. What kind of help do you think he'll need? And you're 55. You're 55, he's 86 now. Then you just flip it. What kind of help do you think he'll need? He's going to need a nurse. But think about it. Isn't it true that in life, you can be 25 years old and your partner can be 25, and one day they get into a serious accident? See, the argument some people make is that that's not fair for a younger person or for an older person to marry a younger person. But life happens. And you can walk out of your house right now. Hopefully, it doesn't happen, and you could get hit by a car, and you might be in a wheelchair for the remainder of your life. See, it's all about one very important thing that we have not even mentioned yet, but now it comes up. It's about love. Oops, I keep hitting my mic. Sorry about that. But it's about love. It's truly about love. It doesn't matter if there's a 31-year age gap. What matters is how strong is the love? Can the love endure? One of the main reasons why people cheat, or if they don't cheat, but they still separate from relationships, is because the person that left wanted the relationship to be more about them. They weren't happy being supportive or showing love. So they leave. That's a complete failure. But these things are not limited to just regular relationships. They happen in age gap relationships too. The person may reach a point where they want more. That's why, in those first 2 years that we talked about on another uh, YouTube live that we did, those first 2 years are critical, getting to know yourself and the person. But it's critical in any relationship. But this discussion has an emphasis on age gap relationships. So this is very good. I'm glad we're having this because in the challenges can be minimized with really good communication, being open and honest, explaining your feelings. The generational differences, they're always there. Guess what? There's some people who have computers who remember what it was like to use a calculator. And I've been in many offices where they have the computer on the desk and they still have a calculator. In the modern world, computers have calculators. But the point is, everything is able to work together. Everything is able to be compatible when there is love, understanding, good communication. And you know what? Don't be in relationships without family support. Family, it's a hurdle you're going to have to cross, but it's a necessary hurdle. So why younger women and older women differ? They're two different generations. It really is. I mean, their perspectives are different. And like we said, people are different. Personal experiences, cultural norms, where they grew up at, a lot of things, societal expectations, how people feel about other people's opinions. Younger women today care less about what other people think. Older women care about everything. They're more worried about their appearance because they're still trying to maintain that youthful vitality, not understanding that there are many, many men today who love older women for just what they look like and rather you not even have on any makeup. They just want to see the true you. Some men are just like that, many, many men. But sometimes older women forget that. But the differences between older women and younger women, you know, I don't want to minimize it and say, oh, well, you're both just women. But you're women on different journeys. And partners pick people on journeys that they can relate to better. I think that's the best answer. So, with this understanding and this open mindedness, it helps individuals to have better relationships. So, just to summarize the thoughts that we've already spoken about, age gap relationships, yes, they're complex. They seem to be more complex for people on the outside, worried about what's going on the inside, because these unique opportunities are for personal growth and really strong connections. So if you've never been in one, don't knock it till you try it. So we want to thank you for being with us today. I enjoyed this conversation a lot. I look forward to tomorrow, where we will be discussing things an older man should look out for when dating a younger woman, and the things a younger woman should look out for when she is dating an older man. Some people say, oh, they're just users, they're using each other. What does that really mean? It's kind of like the thought a man marries a woman because she's beautiful. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a woman wanting to marry a man because he's American? What's wrong with a man wanting to marry a woman because she's from the Latin culture? Nothing. These are called personal preferences. But there are some cautions, and tomorrow we're going to talk about it. So we want to thank you for today. and we will see you on the next podcast.